Welcome to the DLLS Rangers Weekly Podcast, now part of the All City Network. Hit the subscribe button for YouTube and also become a DLLS diehard at www.alldlls.com. Now here's Jeff and John. Hey everybody, welcome to the DLLS Rangers Weekly Podcast. This is episode number 10 on the new podcast platform with DLLS Sports. By the way, hit that subscribe button down below. This is episode 10, and Cody Freeman's going to join us from the Arizona Fall League. Episode 10 is hit that subscribe button down below. Go to DLLS_sports on the YouTube channel. Hit that also and see all the podcasts from all of DLLS Sports. They're great. They're covering every sport right now. They got everything going. Mavericks and Cowboys are in season. There's a lot of fun.
The Stars.
So are the Stars.
Yeah.
But they got a lot going on with all of that. And TCU, you got some TCU stuff you're doing every week.
Once a week, yeah.
But a lot of fun stuff. I'm a YouTube guy now, so I end up hitting some of those and watching them every day and doing that. But their shows are daily. They're live daily, but then the reruns of them are there if you can't catch them at work. You can watch them later on that night. It's doing great.
Oh, yeah.
But we're here to talk about our weekly recap of kind of the Rangers news and things that have happened. And let me tell you the first thing that was really cool. So first of all, when I joined Jeff for 3 years, a little over 3 years ago, like I was doing my own thing and I had some contacts I had made, but I really, through Jeff, had gotten to know some people. Example, John Daniels. I became friends with John Daniels. Not we're running buddies or anything, but every time John sees me, he says, "Hey, John, what's going on?" He stops and talks to me. I've gotten to know him. Another one that I became very close to is Ross Fenstermaker. And got to know Ross, especially at spring training. Ross knows me, knew what I would do. And so I knew and I thought without a doubt that Ross was going to get this position. He was going to become the GM. It just kind of set up. That's the way you thought this was going to go. That Ross would get it now that with the promotion and all of that. I texted Ross as soon as it was announced. Just saying, "Hey, been waiting to say this, but congrats, man, much deserved." That's all I said, just being polite. And he sent the nicest response. He said, "Thank you, John. Appreciate you making sure our fans know who I am and what I'm about." And what I'm about, it means a lot to me. And I always thought that was really cool. Now, I know that you are really close with Josh Boyd, with Ross, with all of them. Now that Ross is the GM, don't think that Jeff Wilson is going to be the new Jeff Passan. They still keep things very close to the guys. They still keep it very – but one thing that has always been good about him, and I do not think will stop, he may be a little longer to reply, is that he would reply to a question. Like I sent him one back in 23. You guys know I'm a big Ryan Duro fan. And I hadn't heard anything. He'd been injured. I hadn't heard anything about him. And I said, "Hey, Ross, it's John. It's John. Is Ryan Duro still in the organization? I know he blew his knee out. Haven't heard about him." He got back with me within an hour.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, John, he's still with us and signed for next year. He's currently rehabbing."
Okay.
You know what I mean? And just me asking that. And I know many times I've said, "Hey, some people are asking me about a player." And I know that you'll come back with me and go, "Hey, I just heard this or that." You don't tell me who you heard it from, but you've got like 5 people there you can contact about people. And people about players, we can usually find out unless it's part of something that's no one wants to talk about right now. We usually can get an answer.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. CY's a little more reserved. You know, he takes longer to get back and do stuff. But I think Ross will be more accessible, at least to answer questions.
Well, if the conference call on Monday.
I was on that.
It sounds like Ross is going to be taking on a lot of the media applications.
The media, yeah.
I think that really he gets a bump in title. And I think Ross was probably going to draw interest from other teams and already had as a future GM candidate. So you keep him, but really I think that it's going to be status quo. I don't think he's going to be.
He does a lot of
giving Josh Boyd marching orders and things like that.
Right.
He's the complimentary move, I guess, is that the Cole Figueroa was hired away from the Rays to basically be in charge of player development. So that's kind of what Ross's singular focus was the last few years.
Right.
Now Ross will be helping out with some contract stuff,
trade stuff, all of that.
And things like that. But
I think he already did that too.
I'm sure he did, but now he'll be doing it on a more.
He'll be actually talking with other GMs and
and
everything will run through CY.
Yeah, he'll get the final word, and it would be very similar to what the arrangement that John Daniels and Chris Young had,
Right.
And Ross was still there. It's very similar to that alignment. So it's good. It's another with Figueroa. The Rays are known for their player development. It's
former player too.
It's a way of life for them. They have to develop players with their budget and everything.
Sure.
So that's potentially a coup there for the Rangers. Josh Boniface still around.
Yeah,
he's more hands-on on the field kind of guy. Not that Figueroa won't be, but yes, in terms of Ross, he'll still be very in tune to what's happening with the minor leagues, and he just now has a little more, I don't know, paperwork and I's to dot and T's to cross.
Well, and what I do like is that you're probably going to get a quicker answer to a question a GM can answer without divulging anything. You'll probably get a little bit quicker answer. Don't get me wrong; he probably won't be quite as quick to the draw as normal. I'm assuming his duties have increased a little bit. But Ross was really good. The fact he did it with me, I'm not going to bug him as much. I'll probably run it through you from now on, since you're the guy out there daily. But I appreciated it more than anything, especially the kind words he said right there to me. It was such nice. And Chris, it wasn't that Chris. I mean, you never really had a big working relationship with Chris because he wasn't here.
Yeah. He's really focused on the big league team.
Right.
I think that's all he really wants to do.
Right.
He wants to make the 26-man roster
the best it can be.
The best it can be
within what he can
work
get.
with the coaches and all of that stuff. And it's not that he, you could ask him any question really about the farm system, and he'd pretty much could at least give you a good enough answer.
Sure.
And
he did.
But yeah, he does. He's very competitive, probably too much so. And I think that he needs to, maybe this will allow him to realize that, that, and maybe he won't feel the weight of other departments on him.
Right.
And we'll be able to find some more time to let's say go out to dinner with his family,
sure,
or answer a couple texts from the media.
Sure.
But it'll be, I think this is the way he wanted it. He re-signed. There was, into September, there were questions about his future with the club, and
they sold him.
He didn't have a contract extension. He wanted his vision to match what ownership's vision was. Now, I don't know what his vision is,
right?
But I'm sure it's competing for World Series, doing it with enough money to go get players when you need them, but also to have a robust farm system. And probably, he said, I just need to work on the big league club.
Right.
Now, I don't know that for sure, but that's my hunch. And so this allows him to do that. And you saw what happened in 23. You saw it happen with the signings in 21 and 22 of basically the core of the team. And he had a big hand in that. I know John Daniels was the general manager at the time, but or the president of baseball operations, but Chris Young was right there. So
sure. His fingerprints are all over.
Yeah,
he made moves.
And now that Ross is in the position that that Chris Young was in under John Daniels, maybe it's a better working situation for everybody involved. We'll see.
Yeah, because last year Chris was kind of GM, president of baseball operations.
Yeah.
He kind of ran the whole show.
Right.
Now he does have a little more. And anybody to be successful, it's happened with my wife at her job. Any successful company, you hire good people under you with your vision to go forward, and that's people you trust. And that's how you're successful. And that's how things work. It's very exciting. We're very, and we didn't talk about this last week, and news had already broke and we didn't talk about it. I wanted to get into it a little bit. Will Venables was always such a nice guy to me. He was very sweet to me, and he would come up and say hello. He would talk to me over by the dugout. Congratulations to Will Venables for taking over. He's I don't know what he's walking into over there, but it sounds like a rebuild.
Yeah.
This guy right here was up for jobs last offseason.
Right.
That he did not take because he saw the vision coming with the Rangers. They must have sold him on what they're about to do. I think they're about to really either make some moves or,
they've lost 121 games last year, the most in MLB history.
Sure.
So they're not.
He's not coming into where they're going to be
good.
competing. Yeah.
They're not going to be good this year. He knows what's ahead of him. He talked about, I listened to the conference call, and he talked about, the criteria for it, and it had to align with his family and situations. And, he spent a lot of time with the Cubs, and really has a soft spot for Chicago. And I know this is the South Side as opposed to the North Side, but
and they are rivals, man.
He still felt good about Chicago. The situation, any job is a challenge, but honestly, if he was holding out to be the Rangers manager and waiting, maybe he has maybe this move gives him insight as to what Bruce Bochy's future holds. Maybe Bochy's going to stick around a little bit. Yeah. But also, he probably felt it was time. 2 years under Bruce Bochy can teach you a lot.
Yeah.
And I think he did learn a lot. He said he did. He basically said like these last 2 years finished his development. So it'll be interesting to see.
Is there any talk or any coaches going with him?
Not that we're aware of. It doesn't appear that's the case. He hadn't put together the coaching staff yet.
He's got people throughout baseball.
He does, and I'm sure that he'd be able to consider some Rangers. Sometimes this happens, and you can take one coach with you, or one person from the organization with you. So it wouldn't surprise me if that were to happen. But nothing's been announced on the coaching staff that I'm aware of. I've been on vacation and focused in on Rangers stuff, but yeah. So good for Will Venable, good for Ross, good for the Cole Figueroa. Apparently
a couple moves yesterday.
Apparently,
too,
Skip Schumacher's coming on. Has not been announced by the club. It's been confirmed by a couple of my sources. And then the hire of Luis Ureta as bench coach,
right?
He was Skip Schumacher's bench coach in Miami, and so that has. Last I heard is very close to being done.
Which that was kind of that opening Will left, and we wondered if that was going to get filled.
You wonder how it's going to be filled. And
I heard you ask that to CY, who said, we're still internally looking at that. Listen, Cody Freeman's about to join us. We still got more I need to talk about.
Yeah, that's fine.
And we'll do that afterwards. We're going to bring in Cody right now and get him in here from Arizona. There he is.
What's up, Cody?
Cody, what's up, man?
You guys hear me?
You're loud and clear.
We got you, bud. I'm going to get you again. I think is this your third or second?
Well, second on the big show, and then he was on one of the minor league shows. So where you're in Surprise? Are you in the clubhouse area there?
I'm in our village area where we live, or where they put us up, and I'm in the game room. So it's a nice.
You got a night game tonight? What's going on?
Yeah, we have a game at 6:30 tonight, and it's starting to get super cold too. So it's not fun weather out here.
Wait! Super cold. How cold is super cold?
I'd say, being from Southern California, I'd say I think tonight's going to be 50 or 49.
Okay, that's cold.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah. That's cold.
I mean, the thing about Arizona, as soon as fall arrives, it's not like God just turns down the gas. I mean, it's still hot.
Yeah.
But then, there have been some spring days, especially a couple of years ago. It was freezing.
Yeah.
There were days there was one day I don't think it got above 45.
Yep.
And it was windy and it was crap.
When we have to get there super early, it's freezing in the mornings.
Yeah, it's no good. And that's now my first spring, it was smoking hot. But they also they had workouts later. They had more night games then, so the afternoon workouts were smoking hot. But anyway, so hey, while it's cooling down in Arizona, this is going to be corny. Looks like Cody Freeman is heating up.
300, man.
Yeah, 308, 924 OPS. Kind of a slow start for you. So how has the fall league gone for you?
Like you said, kind of I think the first 2 weeks it was kind of rough, and then it's just that weird period in between playing 100 and whatever games and having almost 450 at bats, and then taking 2 weeks off. That little weird 2 weeks of not thinking, getting out of your routine, that kind of stuff. Jumping right back into it. Maybe just slow to start, but I just picked it up. Started. Cody Atkinson came into town for a couple days, and he was hitting with me, Max, and Ozuna, and yeah, things started to click, and yeah, it's been really good since.
Well, okay, so where do they have you playing? You're primarily the third baseman for Frisco this season. Where do they have you playing?
Third and second, pretty much even. I feel like this whole fall it's been just third and second. That's it.
Okay. How do you feel at second? I mean, because third, I mean, you're the Rangers minor league defensive player of the year.
Yeah, honestly, second base is like it's like riding a bike. It's like, I played there in high school. I played there a little bit and played 7 games there this year, I believe. And yeah, it's one of those positions where it's pretty much similar to short and third. It's just feeling a ground ball and making a good throw.
So when the Rangers said, "Hey, Cody, we want you to go to the fall league," how did they frame it? What did they want you to work on? Was it a reward for your season? How did they frame it?
It, I was a little, I'm like, oh, second time, okay. So I was kind of curious a little bit. I was like, okay, what's kind of the reasoning? And it was just just coming off a season that I had, and they just said they wanted, like, obviously it's a scouting event. It's a scouting 6 weeks of more baseball, and they just said go put your name out there a little bit more and see where things go. And yeah, enjoying my time here with the group. We have a great team, great coaching staff, and we're in first place by, like, I think 2 or 3 games. And I think if we win tonight, we clinch. But so overall, it's been great.
Yeah, I mean, the first time was to get you more acclimated to catching.
Correct.
Right. I mean, this one seems to be, like you said, and there's, it's not a secret that those games are scouted, but there's still, I think, this season created more opportunity for you down the road, because it wasn't just like you were a great defensive player and hit a $150. I mean, you had a bunch of extra base hits. How do you feel about where you stand career wise?
I feel great where I'm at right now. I'm a believer of God. I know He's got everything planned out ahead of me, and I feel great right now with my career. Everything. I feel like I still have catching in my back pocket if it's ever needed, and yeah, I could play any position I need, or what team, like the Rangers, whatever if they need me anywhere, I'm willing to give it a shot. But yeah, at the end of the day, I feel great where I'm at right now.
Yeah, when you were on the minor league show, I think you'd just come off your big 2-homer game in the Oat Milkers uniform. But you kind of talked that because you weren't catching, you felt fresher later in games, and that was kind of helping you at the plate. Did that indeed carry through the rest of the season, and that you were able to have 4 quality at bats each game?
Yeah, I strongly still believe that too. Even here, like, it's just I've been going at it since the first week of February, and it's just like my legs, I'm not saying they're the freshest ever. Like, my body's like it's tired. Any normal human being's body would be tired right now. But it's just like, I know if I was catching since the first week of February, I would be probably not hitting the way I am, not hitting the way I finished, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm still a strong believer of, like, it's like catching, it does take away from your bat a little bit, but I mean, playing infield does help me out and stay fresh.
Yeah, you're one of 8 Rangers players there. Osuna is still going crazy. And I know you've known him for a couple years, but it just seems like he can do a little bit of everything really well.
Yeah, he's special. He's one of those players where it's like, yeah, he's going to be a big leaguer as soon as possible. Like, he's plays the game right. He works his tail off, and he's just, the talent that kid has is insane. He's a leader, and he's going to be a big leaguer with the Texas Rangers within a year or two. It's noticeable. He's a really good baseball player.
And then another purpose of the fall league is for guys to catch up on time missed, and it looks like Josh Steven is kicking butt and taking names.
Kid's a stud. I mean, you could catching him for a couple of years, and then seeing how he pitched start of the year in Frisco, it's like he has everything. He commands every single one of his pitches, throws every one of his pitches for strikes, and it's just he's a pitcher. He's a pitcher for sure, and he's a really good one. And again, like, another guy that is going to be a big leaguer with Texas Rangers. Like, he's a stud.
Yeah. All right. So I'll let John take over here, but we were going to try to get you on last week, but you had to go to a bachelor party for your brother. Where was the party, and how did you survive?
It was in Nashville. It was one of those things where like I told my coaches and agent and stuff like that, like, hey, like here's a couple dates that I have to miss, like, because like we don't know about the fall league like until two left of the season, and like yeah, no worries, no worries. So it was the bachelor trip in Nashville, and then I won't be able to make the playoffs unfortunately because that's the weekend he's getting married, which is next weekend. But yeah, it was in Nashville. It was sick. Nashville's a nice spot. And I was gonna get together with Jack, but things didn't click. But yeah, yeah, it was a fun trip. It was good seeing him and seeing all the guys, and then looking forward to his wedding in about 8-9 days.
What was his injury in the postseason?
Yeah, so he was gonna play game 2 against Schoolball, and then they were doing live at bats that day before, and he swung and like tore his oblique, and then, yeah. Oh. It was horrible. It had been his first playoff game ever that he started or played, and felt for him. But it was a good season. They'll be back, I think, next year for sure. They're a good squad.
Okay. Do you like your future sister-in-law?
Yes. Oh yeah. 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 I already have speech ready for both of them, and I'm the best man. And
okay.
So I got a good speech ready, and she's a good one for my brother.
Well, that's good. Congratulations to him and you. I mean, hey, best man's a big deal.
It's a big job.
Yep, it is. Yep.
Don't screw up. Try to
back from him saying Nashville was a good one. It was good, planned out, and everything was fun.
So where is she from?
She's probably gonna get mad at me if I don't get this right, but I believe Houston. She's from Houston, Texas.
So all right. And did you just say this is the wedding? Where's the wedding?
The wedding is in a small town 20 minutes north of Frisco, and everyone's staying at the hotel right next to our field. So it's pretty funny that our field's going to be like not even 30 seconds away from
do you know the small town? I mean, north of I know all.
No, I know it's called the Farmhouse.
Is it Anna? Is it like Anna or Melissa or Prosper or?
No, it's more north of Prosper for sure.
I'm gonna find this.
Yeah, it's called the Farmhouse. So I don't know.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so and it's like a wedding venue thing, is what it is.
Yes.
So that's where you're going to.
All right. Well, good.
So you're going to be back in Frisco here in a couple weeks
I'll be in my car's getting shipped to the stadium tomorrow, and so I'll be back at the stadium in 7 days.
Where do you keep your car now? Is it there with you?
It's here with me. Yeah, I'm just getting it shipped because I have to. Once I fly out here, I got to go straight to Dallas and then pick up my car and then see.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Instead of driving all the way from Arizona to try to get here in time, you want to be there for as long as you can before you have to break off.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Play. Now it makes total sense. How does that work, by the way? So there's companies that do that. You just pay them some money, or is it friends or family or what happens?
Yeah. Through the agency, like they all have like shipping companies that they've been using and stuff like that. So they'll
do they drive it or do they put it on a train or something?
No, they put it on a like the back of a truck with like
an 18-wheeler. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, good. It's not cheap.
No.
But like you say, like you tell them because they don't provide the shipping money. It's either like flight gas. So you just tell them like, yeah, you're gonna drive, and then you use that gas money to like pay off the shipping.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. I got you.
Sure. Okay. All right. Let's get back to it. So we've had you on the minor league show. We found out a lot of stuff about you. You're from you're a California kid. I mean, that's where you grew up. So let's retouch on some of that stuff. Where you grew? Let's see. Where did you end up going? You're from Rancho Cucamonga.
Yeah, absolutely.
From Edwanda High School. Let some of the big league people know more. And I can't remember if we did this on the minor league show, but you were just a baseball player. Or did you play any other sports?
Just a baseball player. I wanted to play football every single year. Bugged my dad. He said no every single year, and then I thank him and I hate him for it because injuries, stuff like that. But yeah, I wanted to play football my whole life, but yeah, it's just been baseball.
Okay, so now let me ask you. This is one I didn't ask you last time. So you ended up you were drafted, right? in the fourth round out of high school. So I'm going to assume if you're a fourth rounder, you were pretty highly recruited. Had you committed somewhere?
I was committed to Baylor and out in Texas in Waco.
Wow.
Any other schools you had on your radar?
I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, it was the Texas schools like TCU, A&M, like those schools I had in mind, and TCU was kind of like my first little offer because they had my brother. My brother was committed there, and tried to get me like at a low percentage, and I was like, nah, it's too early for that. And then the coaches from Baylor were from Southern California, so had a good connection already, and went to go visit and fell in love with it and committed.
When I was growing up my age, Baylor was not that good at baseball, but they've really turned into a good baseball. In fact, Big 12 was a good baseball conference.
Well, I mean, you can just look around the Rangers. I mean, Cody Bradford, David Murphy,
Davis Wenzel,
and then the A's catcher whose name Shea Langoliers went to Baylor.
Yeah, and then the Royals, Nick Lofton, right next to us.
Yes, correct, Nick Lofton. I had to interview him for a draft story during COVID,
right?
Because they were shortening it, and he was like, a decent prospect in our area, and I was like, all right, well, I'm going to talk to Nick Lofton. Anyway,
so kind of on our third time, we usually like to go in on some fun stuff about traveling in baseball, your life in minor league baseball, the players you played with for a little bit. So I'm going to ask you some question about some of your teammates. Now, you don't have to be they don't have to be that they were on Frisco. Maybe they're still back in high A. Maybe they're up with you. Who's the best dressed guy that you've been around, whether in all of that? This guy, everywhere he goes, he's the sharp dresser everywhere he goes.
Cooper Johnson, quickest one.
Who?
Cooper Johnson.
Cooper Johnson. What's his deal? Is he just stylish all the way down, or what is it?
Yeah, easily. Like I feel like if you ask the whole organization, maybe 93% of people say Cooper Johnson.
Really?
Cooper Johnson.
What does he wear?
It's just like him as a person and the style he has. It's like he just wears good, swaggy, fitty clothes. It's just like it's hard to describe. It fits him perfect.
Okay, so who's the funniest? I mean, this guy keep you in stitches the whole time. Who's the guy that is witty, quick, and can and just keep everybody smiling and laughing?
Oof. We have a lot of those guys, but
name a couple.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm going to for like infield wise, like Caber Rodriguez he's a funny one, like the one that will speak like in English and talk crap in English when he understands it, and it's funnier when he speaks in English too. Yeah, no, for sure. He's a good one. There's a couple pitchers that are up there. Go with Nick Krauth. Krauth is a funny one. And then we'll go relief pitcher. I'm just trying to do one per position. A relief pitcher, we'll go Robbie Alstrom. He's a funny one. He's a sneaky, funny, quiet pitcher.
Okay, so who's the guy that if his baseball career was over, he's the one that's most likely to be a movie star or some kind of entertainment field? He might make it big in the entertainment field.
I would have to go with myself on that one. I feel like when it comes to acting and like entertaining, like as the comedian, like even a comedian, stuff like that, like I would have to go with myself on that one. And that's like probably one of the quickest answers too. Like I've always thought about it too, like as a joke. And everyone's like, after baseball, you better be a comedian. After baseball, you better like do
but you're something. The funniest one too. That's good.
I'm up there for sure.
Were you ever any like high school plays or anything like that? Or you not have time for that crap?
I wasn't in any of those.
There's somebody who was. Gosh dang it! Now
was it Dunning?
No, it was a pitcher. Okay, keep talking. I'm gonna get to this one. I think his name was even Cody.
Okay, so this is the fun one, and this is for if you guys ever got caught in the back alley and man, it was about to throw down and there was a bunch of people. Who's the one guy you want standing next to you that you feel like that you wouldn't want to mess with this guy? He might tear through all of you.
Yeah, like if you're asking me here in Arizona, I would say someone from a different team.
That's fine.
Yeah, it would be Jack Caglione for sure.
Man.
He's a big human being and one of those guys where I would not mind being in front of me in an alley. Now Rangers, I got to go back with Robbie. Robbie's got that dog in him, and I think you asked me this question the first or second time, but yeah, I think, and I did say Robbie, and I'm sticking to it because his name just comes into mind when it comes to that fighting mentality and like having that dog in him. So yeah.
Well, I couldn't remember if we did it on the minor league show, but coming on the big show like this, I wanted to make sure some guys know a little bit. We want them to get to know you and kind of what's going on and doing all that. We're going to have you on more, and I'll get some better ones. You got another one?
Cody Buckell is the guy.
Oh, Cody. I remember him.
Cody Buckell,
he was a pitcher.
Cautionary tale. Like, I don't know if he's cautionary tale, but he was a really, really good prospect. And then he got the yips.
I remember that.
And he could not throw a strike.
Yep.
Just couldn't do it. I think he works. I think he works for the Guardians now.
Oh, really?
Your brother might know him. But anyway, he was a high school
thespian.
Yeah, he was in plays and stuff. Yeah, he's their AA pitching coach.
Okay,
there you go,
Cody Buckle.
I knew it.
You know, it's really something, Cody. If you think about this, my son. I have an older son who is a theater kid. He's studying acting in college. That's what he's doing right now. And as a dad who really wasn't into that and got into that, it's pretty entertaining to see and watch.
For sure.
Go watch some plays. If you're ever in a place, there's a community theater, a play or something. You'd be surprised how you find some entertaining stuff because as sports guys, we're kind of like, I want to go see a play, and you'll find out, wow, these people are pretty good at what it takes a passion to be that kind of person and be an actor.
For sure.
It takes some balls too.
It does. Yeah. You got to get up and put it out there on there. Anything else for Cody? We got,
where do you go eat and surprise?
So for breakfast, I go to there. I just got done eating it. It's called Over Easy. It's right here down the street. It's a new spot. It's a great spot. I get to get my steak and eggs every single morning. And if I don't feel like cooking, usually I cook, but I haven't hit the grocery store in about a week. So I've been doing a lot of pickup. But yeah, definitely Over Easy for breakfast. And when it comes to dinner, I usually cook dinner.
Oh, really? What's your specialty?
I usually just go 95% of the time I'll cook a steak. I love steak. I'll cook a steak almost every single day or eat
sometimes.
Do
they have a grill or do you?
They have a grill back here, and we have an oven. I just use the oven.
Okay, all right. So you're red meat all the way.
I love. I'll eat it. Literally, probably eat a steak every single day since I've been here.
That is a guy after my own heart.
Well, my family and I just went to New York for a little vacation, and we went to a steakhouse called Club A Steakhouse.
Club A.
When you hit the big leagues, you got to go to Club A.
Club A.
It's the best steak I've ever had in my life. I mean, make sure you save up your meal money because it'll run you some money.
Sometimes,
my God, it was so good, and I'm craving it right now. We got a porterhouse. We shared it. I mean, I've taken down a porterhouse on my own. I don't know if I'm proud of that or not, but I have. But we shared this one. My God, it was good.
Hey, look, I don't know where you're going to end up. If you end up in Round Rock next year, then this won't apply. If you start out at Frisco, I live in Richardson. Richardson's about 15 minutes away from Frisco, a little bit south. But there's a little place. I'm a big steak guy. I love ribeye is my favorite cut of meat, just because of the fat in it. But there's a little place in Richardson, and it's called Darren's American Grill, and it's just like this little bar in a strip center. And I don't know how my family found it. One day I noticed they had a ribeye on there. And I was like, that's cheap. I'll try it. It's probably going to be like going to, if you go to something like Chili's and they have a steak, it's never like a steakhouse steak. You know what I mean? You're kind of like, man, that's a good steak. And it was a great steak. It's big, juicy. And man, when my birthday came, I'm usually the one that says, let's go to Texas Roadhouse or let's go to whatever. I'm like, we're going to Darren's because there's never a wait. You can get right in, sit down, and get yourself a big steak. It's nice.
Darren's,
they have steak and eggs. I just looked at the menu. They've got steak and eggs for you.
At Darren's American Grill?
That's all you need.
Yeah. That's all right there. Steak and eggs with the side of fruit.
But you might be in Round Rock, so then we'll have to find a place around Austin or Round Rock to get a steak there, too.
Yeah, there's plenty.
Yeah.
You got anything else for him?
No, but thanks for hopping on with us. It's always a good time having you on. Continued success.
Hey, how much time will you take off after this ends before you start ramping up for spring training?
Now, like weight room wise, I'll just keep getting after it in the weight room. Hitting, I'll probably wait till like mid-December, and then like throwing. I probably won't start throwing until January, first day of January.
All right, that's good. Get your rest.
You have a place there in Cal. Are you gonna be in California in the offseason?
No, so my dad just retired 3 weeks ago, and they had just bought a house in Texas.
Oh, no kidding.
Everyone's out in Texas. Yeah, Liberty Hill, a couple cities over from Round Rock. It's
sure.
Same like neighborhood, but not neighborhood because they don't really call that in Texas and like the country. As my brother, so they're super close to each other.
Did you spend your off season in Austin?
Yes, last 2 years I've been in Austin with my ex-girlfriend, so I won't be in Austin anymore.
So I was trying to be very delicate about that.
No, it's all good.
I was trying to give you the chance to, just answer it however you want without mentioning.
So are you on the market? Is that official?
It's official.
Atta baby.
You know what? That's right. You got to concentrate on other things.
I'm out here having a good time playing some baseball, and can't get any better.
All right,
there you go.
Okay, well, hey, again, thanks again, and have fun at the wedding, and
tell your brother congratulations.
Don't start drinking heavily till after the speech. That's another good piece of advice.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
All right, buddy. Take care, man.
Yeah.
See you later. All right.
He's just a good guy.
Yeah, what a great kid. Guys, you got to be. This guy, let me tell you what, that guy will be a big leaguer. I don't know if it will be with the Rangers. I would love to see it with the Rangers.
Sure.
You and I are such good friends with the guys we meet in minor leagues that get up to the big leagues. It's kind of like having one of your kids make it. It's so much fun. And that dude is doing nothing but hitting.
And Zach Bigley, who's the Frisco radio guy and handles their PR for him. He's convinced that Cody Freeman is a major league player.
Yep.
And
so am I.
And he's willing to do anything. He plays the game the right way. The offense was kind of the question, I guess, because he was always a little undersized. I mean, still a 4th round pick. And then they moved him to catcher and it kind of messed with him, but he still always had that a little thump in there.
Yep.
And
14 home runs this year.
But he had like 30 something doubles.
Right.
And he's realistic about things though, because he recognized that this is a scouting league.
Right.
The fall league. And he might catch a team's eye and they might want him and they might accelerate his path to the major leagues. I mean, unfortunately for Cody, they have the Rangers have Josh Smith and Ezekiel Duran.
That's who's in front of him.
That's who's in front of him. But I mean, and Jonathan Ornelas too. But things happen. Players get traded.
Sure.
Players get designated for assignment.
Yep.
You never know what's going to happen. That's why you have 4 full season teams, because you just don't know.
Right.
And I think when you look at all the great, all the good seasons that were had by Rangers players, I think Cody's, you could say, was a little bit on the unexpected side,
right?
Because he was giving up the catching, or he still caught bullpens and stuff, but the focus was going to be on him at a position, and he really took off with it.
Yep.
And I know the Rangers like him, obviously.
Yep.
But it would be fantastic to see him every day in the clubhouse, because he's just a good kid.
I can't underestimate the importance of him being in the Arizona Fall League.
Yeah.
He is there for either showcasing or for, man, you have opened our eyes. We want to see more. Does this carry over? That he's there not just to fill a roster. They were like, we got to get this guy somewhere in the fall. We need to see more.
Yeah.
One way or another, whether he could be, maybe another team said, hey, you never know what's going on.
And he is, he's, I believe, Rule 5 eligible. Sure. So is Max Acosta.
Yep.
Not sure about
Josh
Osuna.
Okay, Osuna.
But you're talking about guys who are potentially there,
who could get picked off.
It's
unlikely with them, I think.
But also just maybe convince the Rangers. Yeah, we probably ought to 40-man this guy.
Yeah,
and so I don't know that Cody would get 40-man. But you never know. I mean, This is just a kind of a guy who
He's exceeded every expectation.
But he does a lot. I mean, he's a 4th-round pick. All right?
Right.
So there were expectations. He knew Chris Young. You know, his dad and Chris Young grew up together and knew each other. Or not Chris Young, Chris Woodward.
I'm about to say.
And so there was that tie that I remember from when he was drafted. And they put there was a spring game in Surprise with against the then Indians when when Tyler and Cody were on the field at the same time, and I believe one of them either popped out to the other or lined out to the other. So that was, I actually was doing a search and while we were talking to him, and I found the story that I'd written. I didn't click on it because I don't click on anything with the Fort Worth newspaper anymore. But
right,
it just there's something there.
Yeah,
and you hope it's with the Rangers. You know, the Rangers don't draft somebody and are like, God, I can't wait to trade this guy.
No.
They all want them to be big leaguers with their club because they put a lot of time and effort and money into them. And then you get to know them and you just saw right there. It's hard to find a better guy than Cody Freeman. So
and they also don't
about his future. He's got one, and just it takes time sometimes. Whatever it is, but
there are guys that make great livings in baseball that are like Cody Freeman.
Oh, absolutely.
That make a great living as maybe the Josh Smith future, the guy, utility guy on a big league team, or he's the guy that's most likely his future in the major league is probably one of those super utility guys, can play around the infield. Hey, you know what? It is not bad to have that tool in your toolbox that in an emergency, you could go catch the last inning or an inning or whatever if someone gets hurt and you've DH'd your other catcher, and maybe this guy could fill in an emergency or something. Or he's on your bench in case that happens. I mean, that always hurt. That doesn't hurt too. Let's get back though. We got to get back to the big league team. We didn't get where we wanted to before Cody jumped on a little early, which was fantastic. Good luck to Cody the rest of this fall league. We're pulling for you, buddy. Can't wait to see you in the spring. Okay, so free agency is here. Everything is. I texted you the other day, and I knew it was that day.
Yeah,
it was actually election day, and I was like, "When exactly does free agency start?" And you said 4 p.m. So
it was on Monday.
Monday. It's like it was 4 p.m. Monday. It officially hits, and so now they can talk with other teams. There hasn't been a ton of action, but people are starting to. Now the GM meetings, are they going on right now?
They're done.
Okay.
I think they either ended yesterday or today, but basically the media availability for the American League was Tuesday when I was coming back from New York, and then Wednesday was that National League, and I don't really know. They might have packed up and gone home last night. I mean, they're San Antonio, so I think I don't know if they drove or not. It'd be a nice bonding time for
who goes. You think it was
a lot of the front office goes.
Okay,
I mean, it's a pretty heavy team. And it's not quite the team that goes to the winter meetings, but it's a.
This is where conversations probably start
or continue. Yeah,
from the trade deadline.
Right? And
let's pick up where we were. Are we still entertaining this stuff?
A lot of things like that happen.
Right,
100%. And so maybe there's something that does happen kind of quickly. The Rangers at the trade deadline, we're kind of in a unique spot where
they could either be a buyer or a
seller. How much did they, were you thinking how much were they thinking they would buy? So there's, it could have gone a lot of different ways. They could have had a lot of different conversations,
Sure.
Could have talked about, we need to move this guy to take this guy on or whatever. So it wouldn't surprise me, if the Rangers did do something quick. They struck a deal a couple of years ago during the winter meetings, and why am I forgetting the guy who never pitched for him? Kind of a veteran guy, as a trade with the Braves, got hurt in spring training.
Odorizzi?
Jake Odorizzi, yeah. So they made that trade for him, and so something could happen quickly, and usually the Rangers do something quickly, whether it's a sneaky signing or whether it's a little trade. So we'll see what happens here. I would expect them to make a move.
Well, you asked an interesting question to Chris when they announced Finstermaker the other day, and And he essentially said, because you and I talked about it last week, where we didn't know, we know they were going to stay underneath the luxury tax. We didn't know how much under the luxury tax.
Yeah.
He basically told you they would be able to do what they wanted.
I'd say what they needed.
What they needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in other words, he wasn't worried about being able to shop and look and see what's out there. He kind of like he was comfortable with what his marching orders were that he could add to this team. That maybe that's a way to put it.
That's the best way to say it. Yeah. So I think that
he could add people and he wasn't worried.
They'll be able to re-sign
Evaldi.
They should have the money for that. And if they don't, then might have to have a come to Jesus meeting with Ray Davis on that one. You need to spend. And look, the day after the day the Rangers signed Simeon and Seager and Cole Calhoun and Gray, I stumbled past Ray Davis and said something to him, and I don't remember what it was, but then he said, "We're never going to lose 100 games again." Okay, so and they didn't. The next year they lost 94. Okay, right. and then they won the World Series.
Right.
Okay, great. So.
But you know what? When they
so he saw the money. That money does work. Money can help buy a championship. It wasn't all free agency that won the Rangers that World Series, but it really helped.
Right. He also, after he told you that, then apparently he wasn't kidding when during the next season was when he got rid of his general manager. Yeah. And he made the move himself and pulled the trigger on that. And then we got Chris Young moving up to the top spot. And also that's when Woodward was fired during the season, which that happened first. And then a couple of days later was the John Daniel. So look, his mindset was, we can't lose. I can't make money if this team's losing. That's it's a business decision too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. He's like, I can't, this team can't self-sustain or go if we're not winning.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. He's got his money, like you and I have talked about. He could go in his pocket for sure because he'd get his money recouped if he ever sold the team. And he's 83 years old. But he was like, to self-sustain and do what we need to do, this team's got to be competitive. It's got to be there. We've got to draw people and do what we're doing. So he did that. So I've looked at trades, and there's all these names that are possible trades that these teams might put them on the market. I haven't talked about who they could trade for, but you've got to think, we talked about Jordan Montgomery. There's always that's intriguing for sure.
Yeah.
And I was fired up about it last week. I got a little heated about it, but the right price, if they eat the right money, and he's certainly going to be traded. I mean, I certainly think he will be traded, or he's going to have a frosty relationship with the guy signing his check. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we got to, but you look at names like there's talk again about Garrett Crochet. I don't think they're going to trade Garrett Crochet. I got to be honest. He's too cheap. He's only like $2.9 or $3 million a year, and as good as he was, look, he had a worse second half, and there were people worried about it, but it was because his first big league full season. I mean, they were putting a lot of innings on him. They're like, this guy, there's people like you look for bullpen help. They got people like Eric Fetty. You're looking at, Devin Williams is another one that people are talking about could be traded. He kind of blew up in the playoffs, I think, and
he gave up the losing runs,
right? But then
the Brewers,
but we've also talked about they needed a DH, maybe a platoon first base guy, something like that, and the Rays might trade Yandy Diaz. You've got people like Josh Naylor, who they said might be on the market now. He might be a little more. I think he's $12 million in arbitration, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's probably something close to what Lowe's going to get.
A little bit more than what Lowe's going to get.
Yeah. Something like that. So, I mean, any of those names sound intriguing?
Yeah. I wrote a story, published it yesterday. Well, it's not really a story. It's a list. Alldls.com. And some of, Josh
I saw that and I
Naylor
didn't read it yet.
Josh Naylor's mentioned. He hit 31 home runs. He's going to his last year of arbitration. He's going to make more money than Nathaniel Lowe, and he didn't have as high as WAR as Lowe, even though he hit the 31 homers. So you're going to be paying more. He's probably going to go into free agency, and then
is there one more year on him?
This is his last year of arbitration, and then you got to give up prospects for it. So I don't know if that one's a fit. Ryan Mountcastle potentially available.
That's one I've said.
He's kind of a right-handed Nate Lowe. Honestly, they're very similar players in terms of their WAR. Power's down for Mountcastle when you look at home runs, but you got to keep in mind left field at Camden Yards is a lot different than it used to be.
Yeah, they moved it back, right?
Yeah.
And they made it harder.
And he's really good against left-handed pitchers, and the Rangers need help there.
I like him. He came on and did the home run game with me when the Orioles were in town. He's such a nice guy. That's a name I've thrown out there too, that if they're really moving on beyond Mountcastle, and I think it's not because he's not a good player, but with that left field that they've got.
Well, and they have some really good prospects.
Yes, they're one of the top prospect they have one of the top organizations in minor league organizations.
Yeah. And back to the White Sox and Crochet. The White Sox farm system has improved steadily because they've made a ton of trades. So they're not like 30th in the farm system rankings. they have guys that they can develop and that are gonna become major leaguers. It's a question of like, do you want, or like Crochet would get you major league player in return, a young, controllable major league player. So
you'd have to give up. You're going to have to dig deep into your.
Yeah. Well, the Rangers, let's say, as an example, would have to give up prospects too, but probably Zeke Duran or Josh Smith.
That would be one of them. But they're going to look at the top of your.
Right. They're going to. They would probably say, well, we want Evan Carter too, or they would throw out a whole bunch of names and. So that's kind of the deal it would take for the Rangers to get Crochet. Not saying it couldn't happen, but but to trade him, if you're the White Sox,
that's a major give up.
But then you kind of look, all right, you look at Skubal for Detroit. Detroit did not trade this guy because they believed in him. He had I don't know if it was Tommy John or flexor tendon, but he was coming off of an injury, kind of like Crochet was.
Man.
And he's going to win the Cy Young going away. I mean,
what a season.
So is he an example where like, all right, let's hold on to this guy. And then if we're still shitty, okay, then we can trade him, because he'll still have years of control. He'll still be a valuable piece. And maybe more will be known about him. Maybe he'll be better. Maybe the health concerns, if there were some, won't still be there.
I think with him being under control for the next number of years for them, they would have to assess this season and go, we really are probably another 2 or 3 years away.
Yeah.
Maybe he's more valuable right now if we got rid of him, where, and he can linger here as our ace for the next 3 years, but I don't see it unless that's the assessment you've got to make. Rangers are in a win now mode. Even though what happened this season happened, they are in win now mode.
Right.
Their moves are, we think at the big league level, we should compete for the West and be in the playoffs, and we think we're a World Series contender.
Right.
And with what the Yankees did in the World Series, I would say they're every bit in a World Series contender. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The Yankees can't play defense, and every team is so different when they get to the playoffs.
And it's a whole new year. Everybody's 0-0. Last year doesn't matter. I mean, it matters a little because the Rangers have some things they need to improve on internally, and that's how they're going to hope to improve the most.
Right.
Is with
their nucleus is here.
Their own guy. Right. It needs to be better.
Right.
But, let's say they resign Evaldi. Okay, great. You have Evaldi, DeGrom. You have
Molly.
You have Molly. You have Rocker. You have some guys. You have some bullpen questions you got to fix. But
maybe Teodo fills that spot. You don't know, but that's another arm that's not on. He's about to be on the 40-man.
Well, yeah, he's about to be. They're still not. They're still looking at him as a starter.
Yeah,
they haven't pulled that plug yet.
Absolutely not. There's no reason to.
And so, there is that potential arm there. Our guy Skylar Hales, who we had on not that long ago, he's another guy.
Walter Pennington.
Walt Pennington,
he's not a closer though.
Yeah,
but
what about is what's Alejandro Rosario's future?
Yeah.
So anyway, there are
that's a guy that might slide into a back end bullpen guy.
But there are arms.
Yes,
some of them aren't ready yet. Some of them are coming, but you still got to have a veteran guy. I think
Yes,
I've felt that way for a long time. And Kirby Yates was not signed to be the closer. David Robertson was signed to be a kick-ass setup guy, and they both had fantastic years. And it's not because they're old, but that's a big part of it.
Yeah,
they know how to pitch. They know how to get out of trouble.
When your arm isn't 100 miles an hour, you still know how.
They know how to take care of their arms, how to get out and post.
One of those two has to be back.
So you'd think, hopefully, the Rangers sign somebody like him. No,
they don't have a set closer going into next year.
Like Blake Trinan. Blake Trinan's a free agent. All right, he's not bad. Yeah. Clay Holmes is probably going to get too much money. Tommy Canely. I don't know if he's closer material, but
you think they bring
he's
back
a good
Leclerc?
guy. I think they'd bring back Leclerc on their terms.
Sure.
Now, Leclerc is a first-time free agent.
He was team friendly, though. I mean,
super team friendly. He's made good money. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but
no.
He probably wants a multi-year deal. Now I don't know if it's out there for him.
Yeah,
but if he could come back and be happy, if
incentive,
if one team wants to offer him 1 and 5 or 1 and 8, and the Rangers want to offer him 1 and 5,
maybe
he likes it here. Throw a buyout on the end of it, a team option, something like that.
Some incentives to improve that. Yeah. If you save 30 games, you can add maybe $1 million to it or something.
Anyway, we'll see. But
God, it's just the fun part when the season's over, whether you've won it. When you won the World Series, this part isn't as exciting as when you think you have a chance to be a World Series. This is an exciting part. What are they going to do this offseason?
Yeah.
That's where we're at. When is the winter meetings?
December 8th through the 12th or 9th through the
It's here 12th, locally, so we're going to try to get out there and do that. Man, it's just I'm watching. I'm watching Twitter all day, seeing if there's moves. There were a lot of moves. On the 5th day on Monday, there was some stuff going on because people were having to make decisions before full free agency hit.
Right.
There was a couple people that extended, right? That signed some extensions.
Yeah, Michael Wacha signed one with the Royals, and
did you see they offered Nick Martinez qualifying offer?
He'd be crazy to not take it.
He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Nobody's giving up a draft pick for Nick Martinez.
Right.
That was a name that's always intrigued me about coming back because not only could he be a guy at the back end of your rotation, he can also be an innings eater and come in and be I like that arm for a few innings if you need it.
But
he ain't coming here now.
He doesn't strike anybody out.
No.
He
throws strikes.
He
sits low 90s.
That's a shocker that he got a qualified offer.
He'll take it. There's no way he doesn't take it. He ain't getting $19 million.
It's
21 now. Yeah, he's not getting $21 million anywhere. So, and nobody's going to give up a second round draft pick for Nick Martinez. They're not.
No,
they're not going to do it.
He had a nice year, but he's a swing man.
Yeah, and you know what the Reds said? The Reds said make a qualifying offer. He's staying here.
Yeah.
We want 1 more year with him. That's what they did that for.
Yeah, okay.
And if he does leave for any reason, at least we'll get a draft pick out of him.
I think he's going to accept the offer.
Oh, without a doubt, I'll say that. His lawyer's probably kicking tires right now, obviously.
Yeah,
and they're not seeing anything else.
Yeah, no, I just I go back to 2014 with him. That's when the Rangers rotation fell apart in spring training, and Darvish wasn't going to be able to. He had to open the season on the injured list. I think he wasn't going to be able to make his start, and then so that was the year that Tanner Shepard started on opening day, and they needed a 5th starter, and it was Nick Martinez. He'd never pitched. He'd barely pitched above high A, I think.
Yeah,
he might have had a few starts at Double A, and he made his major league debut in Tampa. He's from Florida, and he turned out to be okay. And then he went to Japan and kind of resurrected his career, and now he's going to make $21 million this year. God bless him.
Hey, yeah, he did. And a lot of people go over there to Japan and do some things. Cody, our buddy
Colby Lewis
did it. He went over there and came back a different pitcher. He was a hard thrower coming out of high school. Went over there and came back, and he just wasn't. he learned how to pitch.
Yeah, and he'd had some injuries along the way.
Sure.
But speaking of Colby Lewis, he's going to be at Do It for Durrett tomorrow. The golf tournament is sold out, but there are tickets for the Josh Abbott band that not Billy Bob's at Texas Live on the back porch tomorrow night. $40 to go see a really good act.
Yep.
The money goes to a great cause.
There'll be some auction items to auction. Hey, that one that Corey's doing is pretty cool. Seeger.
Yeah.
When and Emily talked about that, they finally came out with that. So you'll get to go to, if you haven't ever been to batting practice, the people that get to go, you get to stand right behind the cage in the ropes there. You get to stand right there and watch batting practice from down there. It's really cool. He's apparently got some seats for you there in the luxury suite or whatever it is.
Possibly.
Whatever. Yeah, they said where the seats were. He was getting 2 seats for somewhere. It's one of those lower level seats that's really nice. And then you get to go down on the field for batting practice, and you get to meet Corey in person, which was really cool. That's going to bring some money.
Yeah,
that's going to bring some great money. And so Maddie got Corey to do that, and I have seen Corey go out on stuff like that. He loves to meet people that way. I think he's probably less inclined at a restaurant eating dinner than he would be out there to do that. To come out and do that. So that's really cool. And it's for a great cause.
Yeah. And so the auctions at 32auctions.com, just do a search for Do It for Dirt and you'll see all the items that we have, more than 100.
We'll be running around there.
And so come on out and have a good time and help a great cause.
Absolutely. Are we done?
We're done.
All right, guys, listen, thanks again. This episode 10 is in the can. Big thanks to Cody Freeman for joining us today from Arizona. For Jeff Wilson, I'm John Moore. Until next week, we'll see you at the yard.